Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine, and this is a segment of the shows that I'm doing which is called New Music Roundup, where I'm going to feature artists and bands that may be new to you and perhaps don't have that much exposure on channels like this. So I want to do my bit to try and raise awareness for some new music, because I cover a lot of well-known record labels and bands and box sets, etc. But I want to do my bit to just see if I can raise awareness for some new artists. Now, I cover all sorts of genres here. I'm not tied into it just being rock music, as many as you know. I try and cover everything I possibly can, because as I've got older, my musical tastes have just expanded. And here is a good example in many ways. So, first up in New Music Roundup for this first episode is Lehmann and Innocence and Illusion. Now, this is prog, it is rock, it is pop perhaps, but I'm going to stick it firmly in the prog area, because Steve Hackett from Genesis plays guitar on 2 tracks and harmonica on another. And Amanda is a great guitarist. Her influences range from Blackmore to Gilmour, so that's her heritage, that's who she's grown up with. But she has her own style, and her guitar playing is immaculate. Her voice reminds me of Candice Night from Blackmore's Night, and and the music. The first track, "Who Are the Heroes," is a cinematic, progtastic masterpiece. 7 minutes long. Stream that. It's fantastic. It really is. The rest of the album is incredibly varied. So it's one of these albums that just brings more enjoyment the more you play it, because there's so many different styles on there. It's a nice digipack, comes with a great little booklet, and well worth checking out. Next up is the Black Rifles and an album called Grit. This is a single CD in a simple case. It comes with a black CD mimicking a vinyl album, and they are a power trio. Do you remember power trios, everybody? And they remind me a bit of Soundgarden, a bit of Pearl Jam, and surprisingly enough, I wonder if the band themselves have picked up on this, but it reminds me of early Budgie. Not vocally, but musically. Squawk, the first Budgie album, these are really deep, grinding riffs, and it's not all kind of a bit like Budgie in a way. There's kind of like light and shade, and kind of ballads, and then we're back to full-on power trio. You buy it straight from the band, and it comes autographed. Great band. Check them out. The Black Rifles and Grit. Next, really, I suppose I should separate this guy, because he's in a band that's well known and first division in many ways, and that band is Riverside. But this is Michal Lapaj's solo album. He's a keyboard player. He's a big John Lord fan, but there's not much evidence of Mr. Lord on this. This is really it sits so well in the Riverside bucket of music. It's a bit like Riverside, and it sits between that and Lunatic Soul, which is the other offshoot band from Riverside. There's elements of Tangerine Dream, especially on the track Where Do We Run, which is an instrumental which is just stunning. There's some female vocals on a couple of tracks, and it's ethereal, it's progressive, it's modern, it's intriguing, it's exciting. It comes in a media pack, and if you buy it directly from the artist, it comes signed. So that's really good. Next is a bit different, and this is Jessica Moss and Phosphenes. Now, she's a violinist, and she wrote this during lockdown, and she uses the violin like a paintbrush. This is soundscapes. This is something you just put on, and it changes the atmosphere of the room. Now, I've just name-dropped Tangerine Dream on the last album. I'm going to name-drop Tangerine Dream again, but really, really early Tangerine Dream. But it's like a mindfulness bell set to music. So that's Jessica Moss, Phosphenes, again, new album, and give it a listen. Next, we're off to the countryside, the English countryside, with a very English classical cross folk album, which is by Simon Mayer and Hilary James. And this is called When Summer Comes Again. Now, they're sitting between folk and classical music, which is a dangerous place to be for musicians, because classical people kind of steer away and the folk people steer away because it's too classical, too folk, and it's not. And I understand exactly what that's like when you kind of get caught between saying, who do you like, what do you like? But it's a beautiful album. It's a nice digipack, comes with fantastic paintings from Hilary in the booklet. And my favourite track, which has been on the Spotify playlist now spinning, is the Buttermere Waltz. So give that a listen. And it's a summer's day, sitting outside with a crisp glass of white wine, listening to the birds tweeting in the trees. It's beautiful music. Now, sitting with that, on a similar basis, is a band called Meadows, and the album is called Dreamless Days. This again is more folk than classical, and it's a family affair, not sly, and this is more folk orientated, but again really organic, instruments, guitars, violins, etc. But again, a bit like reminds me of the Cause, but more emphasis on the music. Now this guy, Barrie James and Strange Desire, I posted a picture saying I was listening to this on the community tab on the YouTube channel. Now I thought this was Americana, and it is a bit countryish, but in case some of you now turn away, think Steve Earle, think Copperhead Road. But some of the songs are very gentle. But he's not from America, he's from Glasgow. This is about his third album, so I'm probably late catching up here. But I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed it a great deal. So it's Barrie James and Strange Desire. Next is something very different. This is City Weasel. Okay, now this is a very, very unusual band. Now musically, I clicked immediately. This is full-on prog, aggressive guitars, intricate arrangements, jazz fusion, Frank Zappa, King Crimson. But vocally, I've never heard anything like it. Now, I understand extreme vocals. I'm an Opeth fan. I like death metal. I'm there. I can cope. I enjoy it. But this took me to a place where I'm not ready. That's the only thing I can say. Imagine the vocals. Imagine the voice at the end of The Shining by Stephen King when the little kid goes, red rum, in that voice. And they even, ironically, say that phrase, red rum, at the end of a track called Cluedo. It's 30 minutes long. It's that kind of vocal approach that I found really challenging. But musically, it's absolutely complex and fantastic. There is an instrumental track here which I absolutely love. I found the vocals perhaps too challenging for where I am now. Now I was the same when I heard Still Life by Opeth. I couldn't get it. So maybe I just need to give it more chance. But tell me what you think about that. City Weasel. Next is something that I just found charming. Although it's mainly a punk trio really called Scarlet Drops, and the reason I found it charming is because it's remastered from cassettes. This is a band where this has been put together through the enthusiasm of a fan who was such a fan he wanted the cassette singles, the cassettes from Canada, Ontario, one of the cassette scene, and wanted it put out on CD. So the band in the end kind of went, "Oh, go on then," and even got him to write the sleeve notes. But it reminds me of early Motorhead, but with a female vocalist. It's good. It's good. It's the Scarlet Drops from 1984 to 1992. The cassettes remastered on CD. It's fun. And finally in the music roundup is a band called Nothing But Real, and it's called Lost in the World. Now this is a female-fronted band who describe themselves as a cross between Royal Blood, Skunk Anansi, Muse, etc. Yes, and a bit of Faith No More, but vocally, I hope they're ready for this if you're watching, you reminded me of Pat Benatar in the vocal stakes, and I really enjoyed it. It's a great album, very interesting, and well worth streaming. So that is Nothing But Real. Again, I'll put a link down below, and it will be on the now spinning Spotify playlist. So that's my new music roundup for the end of January 2022. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, thank you for becoming patrons and supporting me and the channel, and I shall see you on my next video.